Jordan and Harper had been together for a span of 8 years, including 4 as a married couple. They resided in an apartment that Jordan had inherited from his grandmother. Despite leaving more than 5 years ago, the apartment still demanded significant investments for repairs. Hence, both partners toiled diligently, gradually enhancing their abode. Living in a perpetual state of renovation was wearisome, so they made it a point to embark on a vacation at least once a year. Without fail, they always voyaged together, without any exceptions. Such was the custom since the inception of their relationship, which they wholeheartedly embraced. However, as with any rule, there is always an exception. Harper and Jordan planned to journey to a breathtaking seaside location during the summer. They had been unable to visit the place the previous year, making it an absolute must-visit destination this time around. The hotel was quite pricey, boasting a limited number of rooms that were booked well in advance. Consequently, the couple took care of their vacation arrangements during the winter season. Thankfully, they managed to settle all the details, and both eagerly anticipated their upcoming retreat. 2 blissful weeks amidst the sea, in each other's company. Time flew by at a rapid pace, and now it was the month of June. The departure date drew increasingly nearer, with just a solitary week remaining. Harper, feeling the anticipation, even began the slow process of packing her suitcase. However, an unexpected and unpleasant turn of events suddenly occurred. Jordan and the rest of the vacation planning crew found themselves stuck at work indefinitely. Being in charge of an entire department, Jordan had the slimmest chances of altering the situation. The discontent was palpable, with Jordan himself feeling utterly dissatisfied. When he broke the news to his wife, she wept all evening long. Seeking the solution, Jordan reached out to the hotel to reschedule their arrival, only to discover that all other dates were fully booked. That night, Jordan approached his weary and sorrowful wife, deeply pained by the sight before him. Throughout the past year, they had toiled diligently to complete their apartment, barely managing to squeeze in a week away. Witnessing his wife's dwindling hope for a long-awaited vacation this year caused him immense agony. And then he decided to bend the rules a bit. He suggested Harper take the trip without him, and if possible, he would try to escape from work and join her as soon as he could. Initially, his wife wasn't keen on the idea, given the uncertainty of whether he could make it at all during those 2 weeks. But on second thought, she figured it was better to enjoy some downtime now than to sit at home waiting for Jordan to get off work. Not to mention, finding another chance to take a break together seemed iffy, and she wasn't thrilled by the thought of another year passing without a vacation. Plus, there was still the hope that he could eventually join her, so she decided to go for it. Her spirits lifted the moment she hopped into the cab heading to the hotel. The worries of last week back home faded instantly when she glimpsed her spacious room and the breathtaking view from the window. She messaged her husband to let him know she'd arrived safely, and the first thing she did was dash off to the beach. Since the beach was exclusive to hotel guests, it was pleasantly uncrowded. She snagged a lounge chair and strolled down to the water's edge. As Harper waded knee-deep in the sea, something, or rather, someone, caught her eye. There was a man nearby who, like her, hadn't yet acquired that golden vacation tan that most other beachgoers sported. And something about him seemed vaguely familiar. Just then, she distinctly heard someone call out her name. She wasn't mistaken. She truly recognized this man. "Braden, it's been so long, so many winters," she exclaimed in response. They embraced each other and eagerly exchanged questions about how they ended up meeting by chance in a foreign country. Braden looked absolutely stunning, just like he always had. This man had previously dated Harper's close friend during high school, and Harper herself had secretly invited her. Deep down, she had her own infatuation with him, but she believed it was all wrong. Eventually, her friend broke up with him, and Braden himself moved to another city for college. Thus, their secret love story didn't have a chance to unfold at that time. Destiny had reunited them after so many years apart, unexpectedly in a serene location where she arrived sans her husband. Harper took this confluence as a harbinger of something meaningful. They spent some time swimming and later engaged in an extended, relaxed conversation beside the sun loungers. When it was time to part ways, they were surprised to discover their rooms were just a short stroll away from each other. "We're practically neighbors. Feel free to drop by," Braden suggested, sending a shiver of excitement down Harper's spine. That evening, they reconvened over dinner. Through their dialogue, it emerged that Braden was unattached and lived by himself. Harper was upfront about her married life, yet it seemed to scarcely deter Braden. She sensed that this vacation might turn out to be one of her most exciting ones yet, far from mundane. Post-dinner, they opted for a moonlit stroll along the shore. Harper and Braden conversed with the ease of long-lost friends, bridging the gap of the years apart. Braden was the epitome of chivalry, offering his hand for support, sometimes holding her close, and even wrapping an arm around her during fleeting moments. As they bid each other goodnight in the hallway near their accommodations, Braden planted a swift kiss on her neck. The kiss was fleeting, yet in that brief moment, Harper's mind raced with visions of spending the ensuing hours in Braden's chamber. However, with a mischievous grin, he merely said, "See you tomorrow," before retiring to his own room. Harper found herself restless that night, Braden's forwardness sending her thoughts into a whirlwind. The following day mirrored the previous one. Joint ventures to cafes, the Seaside, and endless conversations. Throughout that whole period, Harper was a bundle of mirrors. The lingering memory of the previous night's kiss haunted her, her every fiber aching for more. Then, as they bid each other farewell in the corridor that evening, she impulsively leaped into his arms. They spent that night, and many subsequent ones, together in Braden's room. Each morning, she retreated to her own quarters, catching herself marveling at how exceptionally delightful these days had been, perhaps buoyed by the carefree ambience of the resort or her rekindled feelings for Braden. Overcome by emotion, Harper threw caution to the wind. For the entire week, Harper and Braden were inseparable. Day in and day out, they were constant companions, and night after night, they were united under the same roof. As the weekend approached, her husband made a call. He explained that work obligations made his arrival impossible, urging his wife to enjoy the vacation on her behalf. Unbeknownst to him, Harper was already finding solace in the arms of her paramour. Struggling to conceal her elation, she feigned disappointment over his message. In truth, Jordan was being deceitful. He had made every effort to join his wife on this holiday, vividly remembering her reluctance to travel without him and planning to surprise her. Upon his arrival, Jordan headed straight for their marital suite, expecting to find Harper there, but found the room empty. Unfazed, he proceeded to the reception to inquire about his wife's whereabouts. The receptionist, with a knowing smile, informed him that she had just come back with a companion and was likely with him at that moment. Jordan was confused, not knowing what to say. He plucked up the courage and asked for the room number of this escort of his wife. The subsequent events seemed to merge into one. Her husband knocked on their door, and Braden opened it. The husband did not recognize the man standing in front of him, but he knew perfectly well who was lying in the bed behind him. It was Harper, caught in the act. However, the husband chose not to make a scene. He realized that his wife had made a decision and quietly retired to his room. Although he was undoubtedly in pain, he knew that staying here would cause him even more pain. He packed up his things and returned home. Much to her surprise, Harper felt no shame and had no regrets. In that moment, all she could do was smile sweetly and speak to her lover. Braden commented that she seemed to be unburdened now, a veritable free spirit. Why not consider moving in together post-holiday, given their current bliss? However, with a sly grin, Braden retorted, "Did you take this to heart? Honestly, it's merely a typical fling that you find at resorts. The only difference is you fell into the trap," he declared. Harper was blindsided. Had he been deceiving her all along? Did he actually have a family that he casually chose to disregard here? and she was merely an unwitting victim in his charade. The revelation completely devastated her. A few days later, Braden departed, leaving Harper with lingering doubts and decisions to make. Her spirits, once lifted, were now dampened. Returning home, she found to her dismay that Jordan had already swapped out the locks. Desperate, she tried reaching him, to no avail. He systematically ignored her calls. Resolute, she opted to wait out the day, hoping to coax some forgiveness from him by dusk. Yet, when he finally showed up, he maintained a stony silence, barely muttering that he was initiating divorce proceedings and that her belongings would soon be sent to her parents' house. Harper had no choice but to turn to them. Her mother aggressively approached her anger spilling out over her daughter's actions as her son-in-law revealed all the details. Harper had no choice but to pack up her belongings, take shelter with a friend, and look for a new place in a hurry. Shocked by the fact that her relationship with her lover had collapsed and her husband had exposed her deception, she was left with absolutely nothing. And this is the narrative.